Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel Spill the Tea Lou. My name is Lou. If you are new around here, please do hit that subscribe button. The more the merrier on the channel. Please do also hit the like button as you join in. Tonight I am going to talk about the strikers because this summer just passed, the summer of 2025 has undoubtedly been the summer of the strikers. Everybody was in the market for one, and there was loads of them in the market for that. And the merry-go-round, the circus, the media, the rumours, all the fun stuff that goes with a transfer window was all over the place. Nobody knew where anybody was going. And obviously, a lot of us do pay particular attention to our own teams during the transfer window. And I know for a fact Manchester United was linked to absolutely everybody. I mean, getting to people when it's not the transfer window, let alone when it is. I'm sure maybe you feel the same about your clubs, particularly I think the bigger clubs, because even if the club themselves aren't actually interested, the players and their agents want to put themselves in the shop window, and if they get linked to a major team, it does then make them seem more attractive to other teams. We see this all the time. Sometimes nobody's putting it out there except for the journalists. They're like, this link seems to make sense. Let's just put it out there. Maybe something will come of it. And of course, sometimes the links are in fact true. Because all of these clubs, as I say, particularly the bigger ones, they scout, they look at, they consider, they might peruse through all of the different options before they actually narrow it down to the ones that they're genuinely interested in actually buying. So, look, there was a lot of movement this summer within the Premier League, which is actually quite unusual to have so many teams buy in so many strikers all at the one time. And the fact that so many of us were linked to the same strikers, and obviously we've ended up with different ones because they can't play for all the different teams, it does make it interesting to see how they're settling in. Were they the best pick? Did the other team get the better one? And it just keeps things interesting. Hello, lovely Rob. Hello, lovely Guess. Nice to see you both in the chat with me this evening. I do know it's a Tuesday. It's a bit sleepy. I don't know how it is where you are. Here it's cold. It was -1 on my drive to work this morning. It was misty. There was fog. There was ice. Everything slippy. It's just a real wintry day. It's a bit cold. It's a bit cozy. There's not a lot happening. I know Chelsea are playing today, but who are they playing? Who are Chelsea playing? Not somebody very exciting anyway. Apologies to whoever the opponent is, but it's not going to be, well, that we know of. It's not going to be one of those matches for the ages. So people are at a bit of a loose end on a Tuesday, which is unusual because you obviously normally have the Champions League. So speaking of, oh, lovely Kate and Jimbo, welcome, welcome. So speaking of Chelsea, the first player that I would like to discuss with you is Liam Delap. So let me get young Liam up on the stage with me now. Actually, maybe that one's better. Maybe you can see it better like that. What did I click? No, that's not the one. Right, let me try this. I'll take it down. I'll put him back up again. Okay, let's do that one because that one's a nice big one for you guys to actually be able to see. Let me scroll up so we can start at the start. As you can see, I was having a little go at him earlier on. So I'm going to go through some bits. You know I'm not a fan of stats. I don't like all of the information overload. I'm very much a vibes kind of a person. I do prefer just to sense it, to look at it, see how I feel, watch them play. Do I enjoy how they play? Do they look good? That kind of thing. But I do think sometimes it's important to look at the stats and see, do the stats match the vibes that I'm picking up? And I'm slightly biased. Guys, what is the sound like there? Can you hear me properly? Because I had a little bit far away there. Now am I really shouting loud? Tell me if I'm too loud, too quiet, if it's okay. Hey, Huge. And that's Matthew. Matthew, you changed your name, but that is you, right? Let me know. So I'm not misnaming you. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Gas. Sounds good. So let's see here. Liam Delap. So I know obviously Chelsea were in from because they got him. Manchester United were definitely in from. I don't know who else was in from because, as I said, during the transfer window, there's so much going on. I do primarily focus on Manchester United. Let me know if any other teams that you know of are interested in him. But he decided, was it him? I'm sure Liam Delap decided that he didn't want to go to a team that wasn't in Europe, and that's why he didn't want United, and he wanted to win trophies, and he basically didn't think United was up to his standards, and so he opted for Chelsea. Sound for that one, Chelsea. We appreciate your sacrifice, because honestly, I'm so glad we haven't got him. So let's go down and see. This is his appearances now. We've got the Carabao Cup, so obviously he's appeared once in the Carabao Cup and got a red card. He has appeared 8 times in the Premier League out of 16 matches. He has appeared twice in the Champions League, playing 14% of all the available minutes that he could have played. It's not looking good. And then the Club World Cup. Right. So what I actually want to talk about first with Liam Delap is huge. Do I remember you calling Sunderland and Forest getting results? Well, do you know what? Since I read all of the comments, that is going to be live on stream. Flip yourself up. Get it out there. Yes, Rob, that was it. Thank you for confirming. Hey, Jay, welcome. Delap wanted Champions League football. Yes, Delap. Enjoy the Champions League football, friend. So he joined Chelsea from Ipswich for a fee of €35.5 million. Folks, I'm letting you know I'm going to be doing this in euros. I know many of you probably operate in pounds, but I operate in euros. It's the only currency I understand. I'm going to do them all in euros, though, so you'll be able to still compare them fairly. Like, you'll know what's good and what's bad. Get on the phone, get the convert right if you need to. But so what this is saying is that his transfer fee was 35.5 million, and I think this is market value then 40 million. So as you can see, from Ipswich to Chelsea. Now, he has moved from Ipswich to Chelsea. He's had a few injuries. So the first one was a hamstring injury, which left him out for 59 days. He missed 10 matches. Now, I can pull this up for you. I did this so you would be able to see what I can see. Injury history. Let's get in there, sunshine. Let's go. So there we are. 25-26, hamstring injury from the 31st of August into the 28th of October, 59 days. He missed a total of 10 matches. Now, this is obviously in all competitions. Hi, Paige. Nice to see you. He is currently now out with a shoulder injury. But in between that, he did also manage to get himself a red card. So he was out for 59 days, 10 matches. He came back, and in his first match back against Wolves, he managed to get himself booked twice within 7 minutes. So he was subbed on, and then he got a yellow, and then within 7 minutes, he got another yellow, and he was sent off. And that was his return after this 59 days off. So he was 26 minutes he lasted. So he was out for 59 days. I know I'm repeating this, but I just want to make it really clear. He was out injured for 59 days. He comes back, and after 26 minutes, he manages 2 yellow cards, 7 minutes close together, got sent off, obviously didn't play the rest of that match, was suspended from the next match, was against Spurs, which I do believe Chelsea won 1-0. And then he played a wee bit, which is obviously when most of those matches we've just looked at happened. And he has now managed to get himself injured again. So basically he was fit for November. And then on the 6th of December, he went and got himself hurt again, shoulder injury. His return date is unknown. He has already missed 11 days and 4 matches with that shoulder injury. I see Flossie's in the house. I see Twisted's in the house. Everybody's joining. Hi, folks. Nice to see you all. Thank you for spending some of your Tuesday evening with me. We are just discussing young Liam Delap. So let me know what you think of him so far. Not that we've seen much of him to have an opinion. But so he has missed 14 games through injury. He missed a game and most of another game through getting suspended for the 2 yellows. And honestly, I know I keep saying this, but I'm so relieved we didn't get him. We don't even know if he's a good player. We have no idea if he is a good player because we haven't seen enough of him. And when we look back, it's not like this is his first injury, his first long-term injury, because in the 23-24 season, he had a knee injury, which had him out for 92 days, which is quite big. I mean, so I don't know if you can call it injury prone, but I mean a knee injury, a hamstring injury, a shoulder injury. What's he doing? Is he going around all his limbs to see in which one he can injure first? Which one has he marked off on the board? Maybe it's a game of operations. You know the little buzz buzz, the game you play when you're a child, and he's going, right, I've already hit this one, I've broke this one, I've damaged this one. What one can I hurt next? I mean, I'm sure it's very frustrating for him, but no more frustrating than it is for the Chelsea fans, because, I mean, he was supposed to be the big deal coming in. Do you know what I mean? Scoring their goals. And he's just not performed at all. So for me, I just think he's been completely underwhelming. As we said there, he has played 8 out of 16 Premier League games. Now, what I want to do is pull this up here so you can see it. So I'm going to be jumping backwards and forwards. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. Now, this is Premier League. So everything we were looking at there was primarily all competitions. So this is specifically the Premier League, okay? So in the Premier League, this is his season so far, 25-26, within the Premier League, okay? So as we said, he's had 8 appearances out of 16 matches. He has started 6 of those, and he has averaged 44 minutes per game. I mean, that's not fantastic, okay? So let's go down here to the thing that is important for strikers. He has 0 goals, and I believe 0 assists. So he's not doing fantastic, even with the minutes he has managed to get himself on the pitch. Now, obviously, people will say, look, he's had a long-term injury, then suspended, and then another injury. So he was never going to, hit the ground running between the injuries, because you have to ease yourself back in. But I mean, am I being really super harsh, or is this just an absolutely dreadful signing? I mean, the only thing that he has going for him is the fact that he was reasonably cheap. Like, by today's standards, €35.5 million for a striker isn't overly expensive. So that's all right. Your trips to the pub just might be boring, but that's all right. You've got us. Not to worry, Twisted. So, really underwhelming. As a team that was in for him, I'm glad we didn't get him. It's frustrating, because I don't feel like I can judge him as a player, because the injuries are taking over everything. And look, the 2 yellow cards right after he's back, first of all, can show a bit of rustiness. They can show a lack of discipline, but they can also show just a bit of frustration. He's wanting to get stuck in. He's wanting to join the team. He's wanting to show that he's ready to fight for the badge. But maybe he was fighting just a little bit too strong. You know what I mean? So what do you think of him, folks? I've done my wee spiel there. I've given you all the information that I have on Liam Delap, because honestly, there's not a lot of information to get, because he's not played a whole lot. But what do you think? Would you have wanted your team to go in for him? If you were Chelsea, would you be happy? Would you be disappointed? Would you feel, look, you can't really judge him at all yet because he's been injured, and obviously he didn't have time to really get himself up to full fitness before he got injured again, even though it's another part of his body? Do you feel like maybe he'll come good in the new year? Like, what is your opinion on Liam Delap? Get them in. I see their Paige. Paige is obviously at Manchester United, like myself. Injuries, frustrating for him as a player. Happy Man United didn't go for him. That's essentially what I think. And I also think it's very frustrating for the Chelsea fans, because as their project moved forward, this was one of the things they needed to add, was a striker, someone who could, hit the back of the net and take them to the next stage. And we were talking about projects and everything else to take them to the next level, and obviously that just hasn't happened. So that might be one of the obstacles stopping them taking the step forward that maybe they intended to take this season. Let me see. Jay is saying that he's glad Man United didn't get him. Agreed. Rob not telling us how he really feels. I think he's a walking disaster. So happy we didn't get him. So realistically, all the United fans delighted we didn't get him. And I think really that gives you a bit of an idea of where Liam Delap is at the moment. So I don't think I can hammer him any further than that. Like, that's not my intention. My intention isn't to just give him a load of grief. I just genuinely, I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for Chelsea fans. I think it does set back their project a little bit. I think even if he hits the ground running then and he starts well when he comes back from the shoulder injury, say it's going to be from January all the way through, they may still need another striker now, because if he's going to be injury prone, you're going to need another one, because they can't go through this again, what's happened to them at the start of this season, because that wouldn't be fantastic. So, if nobody has anything to add, let me see. Twisted. Big clubs buying from relegation fodder is a red flag. But Twisted, where do you want them to get players from? They're not allowed to buy from other leagues because those leagues aren't as good as the Premier League. And now they're not allowed to buy from lower teams because they're relegation fodder. But you can't buy from your rivals. So where exactly would you like them to get their players from? Like, just magic them out of thin air? Like, let me know. Because if you have a magic font of excellent football players, like, we'd all like in on that. So Liam Delap, we'll move on from him because I don't really think there's much else we can say about the poor wee chap, because he just isn't, he's not doing a whole lot. I've pushed the wrong button. Bear with me while I get it back up. Can you see me now? There we are. So moving on from Liam Delap, one of your favorite players of all time, the man of the summer, the guy whose name I never wanted to hear ever again because he was the only man that anybody wanted to talk about, Alexander Isak. Twisted, you think people should have bought Oshiman, who wanted a net take-home pay of 400k. If your team wants to play that, that is more than fine. I don't want my team paying anybody that ends up with them taking home net 400k. No, thank you very much. So let's go with Isak. Oh, do you know what? Have I already got him up? I've already got him up. Look at me. I'm so clever. I'm just ahead of myself. There's Isak. So he moved, as we know, from Newcastle to Liverpool for 145 million euro. Apparently his market value is 120 million euro. That's still quite high. So we can see here, I went way up, and that's what Liverpool paid. And since he has joined Liverpool, it's gone down to 120. Now, no harm, whoever made this, but I have no idea what mental case would be paying 120 million euro for Alexander Isak right now. If he come up for sale in January, I'm not paying 120 million. No, thank you very much. It's not been good. And speaking of it not being good, let's have a little look at how Alexander Isak went from Newcastle to Liverpool, as if we don't know. But let's just, recap it. So, he left the pre-season with Newcastle, citing that he had an injury, that he couldn't be involved any further, that he was injured. It then came out that he was actually off somewhere in Europe, training by himself, unknown to Eddie Howe, unknown to Newcastle. Nobody had a clue. He just took it upon himself, this injured player that couldn't participate any further, and just decided he was going to go out training by himself. So then all the rumours start coming out, the back and forth in the media, the sly digs, kind of one club to another club. And then you have the whole thing about, it was intimated essentially that there was a gentleman's agreement that he would be able to leave Newcastle, that he should be allowed to leave Newcastle, that they're trying to stop him when he wants to go. Liverpool, we had the whole free Isak thing. It was all going on. And so it just got a little bit nasty in the end. And I don't think there was any winners, because he came out looking terrible. And the two clubs, neither of them came out looking great. It all looked just a little bit disorganised. But eventually, he got himself to Liverpool, but he hadn't had a pre-season. He wasn't up to speed. His fitness wasn't where it should be. So he missed 2 matches at the start of the season due to lack of fitness. And he has since missed 4 matches due to adductor pains. Let me see. Injury history. Let's have a look at him. So there he is. he missed his matches. One of them was for Sweden, 2 of them for Liverpool, due to fitness and then adductor pain. He has missed 4 matches. Wow, he has missed 4 matches already for Liverpool due to adductor pain, which is probably down to the fact that his fitness wasn't up to scratch and he didn't have a pre-season. These are probably knock-on injuries from him trying to get up to speed faster than everybody else. He has taken part in 9 games so far in the Premier League out of a possible 16. So let me pull him up here. Oh, that's what I did. I closed the wrong window, you silly Billy. Okie dokie. Well, Isak should be easily found, so it shouldn't take me too long. There he is. Right. So, big plus. Now, obviously, this is before, but a big plus over here, a big plus over here. All these wee pluses, the reason they're red is because red means bad, and he was injured. So, let's have a see here at his season so far. So, Alexander Isak in the Premier League, 25-26. He has appeared in 9 matches out of a possible 16 in the Premier League. He has started 6 of those, and he is averaging 56 minutes per game. That's not a lot. I mean, that's just over a half. That is not a lot. And for being 145 million euro, he was the Premier League transfer record. 1 goal, 1 assist. What springs to mind is underwhelming. If your club paid that money for Alexander Isak and this is the return you're getting, you are raging. You're raging. Imagine how many other players you could have bought for that 145 million euro. It's dreadful. Now, obviously, these are SofaScore ratings, so different apps might be slightly different. They might vary a little bit. But I mean, orange is bad too. Like, we want to see greens and blues, like Super Saiyans. But I mean, he had one really good match. It was against West Ham. Like, honestly, he's just, for the money they paid for him, he's not going well. He was the signing of the summer. He was the big hoo-ha. He was the drawn-out saga of the summer. He got the move after all of the drama, and this is what he's doing with it. Honestly, like, the fighting he did to get to this club, and this is what he's putting up. It's not good. It's not good at all. So let's have a look what you guys think. With that whole situation involving his move to Liverpool, we saw Isak's true colours. What to say, he won't do this again in the future. Paige, I totally agree, because he wants to do it once, they can do it again. You know they're capable of it. That doesn't mean he definitely will, but it means it's much more likely to happen if you know he's done it before. And so to give you kind of a lesser example, Anthony, before he came to United from Ajax, went on strike. He said he only wanted to go to United. It was the only club he would go to. He wasn't training. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. He came to us, and then when we're trying to move him on, he's fighting with us over who we'll go to. I will only move to this club, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, once they do it once, it's more likely they'll do it again. Absolutely, 100%. Oh, lovely to see Patrick in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Patrick, do I think Isak suits Liverpool's play style? At the moment, I don't think Liverpool 100% know what Liverpool's play style is, because I think that is currently in transition under Arne Slot. So I think their play style is changing before our eyes, and what they expect from their players and want from their players is changing before our eyes. So I actually don't think Isak is the only person who is learning what is wanted from them by their new manager. What I think Isak's problem is, and I might be wrong here, but what I think Isak's problem is, he went from being a big fish in a small pond. And I'm not being like rude to Newcastle there, but they don't have the same eyes as Liverpool. And he was the main man. He was very well got by the fans until all this happened in the summer. He was so well got. He was so well thought of. He was so well supported. You know, he was the main man, and I think he enjoyed that. And now he's moved to a big team like Liverpool, and sometimes people feel they can take the step up and they can't. So, for example, sometimes you have a lovely dinner, you really enjoyed it, you're absolutely wedged, and then you see the desserts and you're like, oh, that looks nice. I really want it. I'm a bit full, but I really want it. And so you get the dessert and you can't fit it in. Your eyes were bigger than your belly. And I just wonder, was Alexander Isak's eyes bigger than his belly? Is he capable of stepping up to the level that is required of a Liverpool player? Because the expectations of those clubs are different. The expectations and the attitudes of those fan bases are different. They treat their players differently. And I think maybe Isak wasn't as prepared as he thought he was. I do think not having a pre-season, which was entirely his own fault, has absolutely hamstrung him. I think it has caused the injuries that he has had since, which have also impacted his season and prevented him from getting up to speed. And I think the unrest at Liverpool Football Club is not providing him a fantastic atmosphere to settle in as a new striker. So I think there's multiple things. And the man we're going to talk about next is Ekitike. And I also think he might be part of Isak's problem. So, for example, we had this problem with Anthony Martial. Anthony Martial, when he was fit, was a very good player. He was really talented, but he hated competition. He hated it. Anytime we brought in another striker, he fell off a cliff. So some players take the challenge and they see it as a motivation and they use it to make themselves better. Some players see it as, I don't like that. I'm the main guy. What's he doing here? And again, we look at Isak, who was the main guy at Newcastle. He's come to Liverpool, a bit chaotic, lots more eyes, not really settling in, no pre-season. And Ekitike, who was supposed to be his backup, is absolutely smashing it. Some players don't respond well to that. So if he's already not settling in and then he's seeing this other guy smashing it and it's getting in his head, there might be a lot of it is mental as well as physical. So I think there's a lot to it. I don't think necessarily Liverpool's style of play is the issue. Did I see a Patrick or Rob at the start of that? Anyway, that was Patrick's comment. I'm not sure what name I said. Sorry. Not only is my memory terrible, but I can't read. So very good question from Patrick. I might be totally wrong, but I just think there are so many other issues, being honest. Mama Flossie, Newcastle fan, is obviously devastated to see that it's not working out for Isak. Her heart is bleeding, I can tell you. Patrick is saying, because we were talking about the prices of players, to be fair, they did drop 80 million on Darwin Núñez before this. I'll tell you what, I think some of the Liverpool fans might want Darwin Núñez back. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, United gets done a lot for spending big on players that don't work out, but we are definitely not the only team that does it. Jay, I bet Newcastle loves the money they got from. I tell you what, if someone handed me that much money for a player that then didn't work out, so I ended up with the money and without the problem, excellent. Yes, please. I would like to know how they did that, and can we do it also? Yes. So Newcastle had built their team around Isak too. So that's very much echoing kind of what I said about, he was the main man. It was built to suit him. Liverpool aren't going to build their team around Isak. He's going to have to fit in around them rather than vice versa. And that's not something that he is used to. Flossie's enjoying herself. He flippity flopped all the way to Merseyside. It sounds a little bit like something Mary Poppins would do. And yes, again, what we were saying earlier, not only is the expectation from the fans different, from the media different, from everybody different of Liverpool versus Newcastle, but also how teams set up to play them is completely different. So how teams play against Newcastle is not going to be the same as how teams play against Liverpool. So the things that maybe worked for Isak at Newcastle won't all necessarily work for him at Liverpool. So he's going to have to himself develop a new way to play. He's going to himself have to take the next step as a player. We know he did very well where he was. He's now taken a step up to a bigger team. And he needs to take the step up in terms of developing himself as a player. It's all well and good to say, okay, I'm ready to take this step. I want to play for one of the big clubs. I want to play for Liverpool. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm going on strike. I'm going to pretend to be injured. But then he has to actually take the step up. He has to do more. He has to be more. And at the moment, he's not. Let me see. Yeah, I think I do. I'm always reminded of Martial, and I liked Martial. I thought he was really talented when he wasn't injured, but some players do not respond well to competition, and I think potentially Isak is looking like one of those. Hello, Marv. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see you're not working too hard. And Patrick is saying, how much of an impact do you think the form of Salah and Wirtz has had on Isak? He thrived at Newcastle with the likes of Gordon, etc. Yeah, I think it's impacted him massively. I think everything happening at the club has impacted him. Because how could it not? Like, when the star player in Salah is falling out with the manager, how does that not impact you? When the guy who's come in, that's supposedly to be your backup, is doing better than you, how does that not impact you? When you have a team mourning one of their friends still, how does that not impact you? Because you never knew him, but you're in the place he was, and you're surrounded by the people that knew him like best, apart from his family. And so it's a case of, how could that possibly not impact him? And wasn't there a quote recently? Maybe one of you guys will be able to tell me, because I don't know the exact quote. I only know it from videos. But was there a quote recently? I should be asking Ash this, saying from Slot saying that they don't have the likes of a Gordon to play with Isak the way he had at Newcastle. Was there a quote or something like that recently? Because that's quite telling if the manager's out there saying that. And I'm sure there was something like that said. But you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Given everything, I would say so far, for the fee paid, for the output being received, for the levels that he's showing, I think at the moment, if that was my club and we had that transfer, I'd be raging. I'd be so mad. And also, we would be getting hammered in the media. We would be getting, if Manchester United had spent 145 million euro on Alexander Isak and he had scored 1 goal all season and missed 4 matches through to injury and 2 matches due to not being match fit, we would be slaughtered. We would be on every headline. We would be on every discussion, on every channel, all over social media. We would be dragged through the mud. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody. It's not a thing. There might be a passing comment. There might be like a little throwaway. But why is this not headline news? Why is nobody talking about this? This man went ballistic trying to get a move. It was the saga of the summer. It was the only thing anybody would talk about for literal months. He went off and trained by himself without knowledge of the employer he had at the time. His agent was putting stories out to the media, intimating all sorts. He was 145 million euro. Do you know how much money that is? And he's doing nothing. And nobody's talking about it. And I don't understand it. Why is nobody talking about it? Like, I know Salah and Slot have recently fell out, but I mean, he was doing dreadful before that. Where is all the talk? Where is all the hype? Where is all the, oh my God, these people can't spend money? Like, where is that? Where is, I would like for everybody, all the teams to get the same energy. I'm sorry, Liverpool is just as big as Manchester United. At the moment, they're looking just as chaotic as Manchester United. Why are they not getting the same heat that we would be getting? I don't understand it. Somebody please explain it to me before my head combusts. Let me see. What else are we saying? Isak doesn't look match fit. His timing, form, everything is off. Well, that's what happens. And I know people will say, look, you're too far into the season. You can't use pre-season as an excuse. The thing is, it's now the injuries. It's now not being in step with his teammates. It's all the other stuff. But that stuff all came from the fact that he didn't have a pre-season. So that was the starting point for all of the other things that are now causing this problem. But yeah, I agree. Everything looks off. Let me see. Is Salah morning? He should take a sabbatical. I don't know if that's a joke or what, but I'm not going to be joking about people mourning dead friends on the stream. Murphy, Jacob Murphy, that was it. And Huge says that as well. Yes, so it wasn't that he needed Gordon, it was he needs Jacob Murphy. And I think that is important. Like when a manager's coming out saying that, that's important. You have to pay attention. Let me see. Jay, we would never hear the end of it. No, we wouldn't hear the end of it. Ever. They'd still be talking about it in 10 years' time. Patrick, 100% we'd be getting rinsed. Look how they spoke about Sesko, and he cost half the price and has double the goals. Like, there you go. Patrick's got it. End the stream right now. On that note, drop the mic. Sesko still doesn't look comfortable. I am going to be speaking about Sesko, so don't worry. We are going to get to him. I'm not going to ignore him just because he plays for my team. Flossie, Isak also has ongoing groin strain that needs surgery. I mean, so he's going to be out even more. Let me see here. Let's go to Alexander Isak injury history, because the man doesn't be well. Like, look at this. Look at this. You literally have to scroll. He has 2 full pages, right? So let's just look. 25-26. So far, he's missed 31 days and 6 games for his club. But if we go back, groin injury, so that's the one that Flossie's talking about. So there's the groin again, there's the groin again. He broke his toe. I mean, that might just be unfortunate. A hamstring, so he's adductors. I don't even know where your adductor is. I see Dave in the chat. He might know what an adductor is, but I mean, it's not good. Knee problems. So he's problems with his knees, his hamstrings, his thighs, and his groin. I'm not laughing at the fact that he's all these problems, but I mean, that's basically his whole legs. Is his adductor part of his leg as well? Because I mean, it's not great. It's not what you want to see in a 145 million euro signing. Drilly is in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Marv is saying 145 million euro gets you a lot of tea. Yes, it does. I could have a tea party all by myself, a big one. Let me see. David, what is David saying? Instead, we have people knocking Delap and Pedro cost a third of... Well, you missed the start of the show, David, because I am also knocking Delap. I'm knocking everybody. I haven't gone in on Pedro, though. He cost a third of the price on Start Facts earlier today. Yes, don't worry about it. Pop me a message, David, whenever you're free, and we will get you on for a nice chilled out chat. No shouting, no name calling, no belittling people for having different opinions. We will just have a wee chat. But definitely do pop me a wee message and we'll sort an evening that suits you, David, because honestly, I'm just chaotic. I never know when I'm going to be live. So if you just let me know, I will try and work around you. That'll probably work a wee bit better. But thank you so much for your comment, for joining in. And I do agree, the price does matter. Because while I went in on Delap on basically everything, the one thing I said was, well, at least he was cheaper. And the thing is, Delap was what? 35.5 million euro. And Isak was 145 million euro. So 70. So he was actually a quarter of the price. A quarter, not even a third. He was less than that. So honestly, yeah, just brutal. Let me see. Everybody saying hi, hi, hi. Well worth all that money. Yeah. Rob would love to see David on. I'm going to have to harangue him into it. In fairness, it's not David's fault he hasn't been on. It's mine, because I'm chaotic and he works to an actual schedule and I don't. So we just have to actually just be available at the same time. Marv. Lou, if you were talking about the summer of the striker 4 months later, have you mentioned Igor? Arguably and quietly a summer steal signing-wise. I have not mentioned Igor, and he's not on my list to mention, Marv. I have spoken about Igor on a previous video. I did a whole video talking about him. So he's not going to be in this one, because this one is more kind of against what you say there. So see what you say. He's quietly a summer steal. What I'm talking about is the ones that made all the noise, the ones that made all the headlines, the ones that were, you know, waited on, the ones that had the expectation, the big ones. Do you know what I mean? That's really what I want to look at today. Igor has been really good, really, really, really good. And if we could find one like that, that's just quietly, yes, Marv, the splashy ones. Exactly. Because I think since they wanted so much attention in the summer, they were courting the media. I mean, why don't we give them some attention now when they don't want it? Because it's going terribly. So I just think they wanted the attention, they can have it, would be my sort of idea, I suppose. Patrick is saying it's kind of bizarre how each of the big strikers all have had injuries and struggled for goals. I wonder if it will actually be next season that we see their impact. Very, very, very possibly, Patrick. And it is odd. That's why I'm doing the video on it, because it's been really odd. And it's just not something that we see regularly. We definitely don't see it every season. So I think it's something worth talking about. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they grow into their teams. Twisted is saying, is it fair to judge a player based on their transfer fee, which is not in the player's control? No, but it is fair to judge the signing as a whole on using that. Because when we're judging a signing of a player, we're not just judging the player, we're judging the club, the people who negotiated it, everybody who was involved in that transfer, which is why when I was talking about Isak, I also talked about the two clubs and his agent, because no, he didn't set his own fee, so you can't judge him because he didn't negotiate for himself. But you can judge the other people that were involved in setting the fee, yes. So you're judging the transfer. Marv, no, because prices have gone mad and now you're paying for current form and predicted future form. Prices have gone absolutely mental. Mental. Some of the prices we saw in the summer were crazy. And yeah, now you're paying for predicted future form, which was kind of what Brighton tried to do with us for Baleba. They were like, well, not only is he good now, but we think he's going to be even better next season. So we want more money for what we think he's going to be, even though there's no tangible evidence he will be that. And it has turned out that he's not that this season anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of teams that are now starting to ask for predicted future form, which is just totally unreliable. So I agree with that completely, Marv. Now, speaking of Liverpool, they did make a signing that was quite good, actually. His name is Ekitike. He has been brilliant. So let's go to Hugo Ekitike, who I think has been unbelievable. Now, it wasn't that he was cheap. He was not cheap, but he's been very, very, very good. So he moved from Frankfurt to Liverpool for a fee of 95 million euro. So he wasn't cheap. It's not that he was, they got one really expensive and one cheap one that was going to be the backup. But most of the idea seemed to be that Isak would be the main guy and Ekitike would sort of be the backup, would play behind him, would be the understudy, whatever way you want to put it. He actually has held his market value, which for the first two players we looked at, they haven't. He's been really good. And he was one of the ones I was interested to look at because I feel like he's been really good. I had the vibes that he's been really good. I've talked about him like he's been really good. And when I was doing it, I was like, well, it's interesting to actually go and look at the stats. Has he been as good as I think he's been? Or am I over-egging the pudding because I think Isak has been so bad? And because of the chaos that's going on at Liverpool, am I maybe giving him too much credit? Am I going over the top with it? So he has played in 15 out of the 16 Premier League games that were available to him, and he has scored 7 goals and got 1 assist. That's quite good. I think that is quite good, considering the way Liverpool have been playing, considering the form Liverpool have been in, considering all that's going on at Liverpool, where they've been in the league. I think that's quite good for a new signing who wasn't expected to be the number one. I think that's really, really good. What do you guys think? I'm going to pull them up here on SofaScore as well, just so we're comparing them fairly. The reason I want to do it is because instead of using different platforms, at least we can see that they're being judged across the board on a single platform. It gives us a bit of a better idea. So let us see. There he is on SofaScore. So where is he gone? Apparently, his strengths are positioning, anchor play, and high pressing, and he has no outstanding weaknesses. We did look at Liam Delap's before, where he has no outstanding strengths, so that's not great. So let's get stuck into Premier League 25-26 season. As we said, 15 appearances. He's started 10 of those. He's been in the team of the week 3 times. 3. That's good. There's only been, well, have we had the team of the week for the 16th yet? But even at that, he's been in a fifth of them. He's been in like 20% of the team of the weeks as a new signing. I just think that's really good. And so I felt very much then, and he's no cards at all. So he's shown quite a bit of discipline. Grindrel 1, 2, like he just seems to be performing really, really well. Hi Billy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, he seems to have just really hit the ground running. He seems to be a player that's doing really, really well. He seems quite likable as well for a Liverpool player. There's nothing really about him. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel he's been as good as I've been feeling? Do the stats back that up for you? I mean, we can see here, look, some of them are in the orange, but I mean, then 8.2, 9.0. I mean, look at the colour of that blue. That's the bluest it goes. Do you reckon he's been very, very good? If you're a Liverpool fan, okay? So if you have paid the money you've paid for Isak and you've paid the money you've paid for Ekitike, and this is what's performing, are you raging that you've gone and spent that money on Isak? If you knew how good he was going to be, wouldn't you be raging having spent over 100 million on Isak to know that you've Ekitike there who's been fantastic? Like, obviously, hindsight, it's great. They didn't know. But I mean, you'd be a wee bit raging. It just feels like such a waste of money on Isak when they got Ekitike for 95 million. He's been unbelievable. Twisted is saying Ekitike signing off the summer. Do you know what? That could be a really good shout. It could be a really good shout. And by the end of the season, if he's still doing this, he really could be. He really could be signing off the season. Do we think, so we started 10 out of 15 games. Do we think he should be starting every game? Should he be starting ahead of Alexander Isak? Or should Slot be trying to play Isak into form? What do you think is important? What would you be doing if you're the manager? Billy is saying, I always said this Liverpool didn't need Isak. You're not the only one. Mama Flossie is saying Ekitike has been really, really good. Yes, he has. Yes. Drilly's saying yes. So I'd be starting him. If I had him at my team, I'd be starting him all the matches, every match. Because at the end of the day, your job as a manager is to win. Obviously, it's to nurture players as well, but your primary job is to win. And so if he is so much better and he's performing like this, look at his heat map. He's literally everywhere. How can you justify not starting that man? Other than giving him a rest or rotation, how can you justify not starting him? So yeah, I'd be starting him. I was just really interested to see if everybody felt the same as me, or do you know, sometimes you just take a liking to a player. I didn't know maybe he was just a player I took a shine to, or if he was actually as good as I was thinking. But no, everybody seems to think Isak is the most expensive depth bench option. Yeah, well, that would have been Casemiro, except he's starting every week. So you're right. You're right. Isak, I mean, it's so expensive. They have to get him going. And I'm trusting Ash, because Ash told me that when Isak does get up, no, that's Newcastle. No, I'm lying on Ash's name. That's my next bet. Never mind. So no, it's just bad. It's really bad. I was going to try and say something that might help Liverpool, but I was lying about Ash, so I can't do that. Isak, hold the bench, but should be playing together eventually. You would like to think They have to get him playing. They have to get him playing. They cannot spend that level of money and not play him because they can't just sell him on. Like, they can't sell him on. I don't care what transfer market says his current value is not 120 million euro. I'm sorry, that's a lie. That's wishful thinking. I mean, they've been on the Christmas sherry, whoever was writing that, because it's not true. So, yeah, Ekitike, I'd be starting him every single match, as I said, other than rotation, but they are going to have to find a way for Isak and Ekitike to play together because Ekitike is too good to drop him, and Isak doesn't deserve to be starting. He has to earn his spot. So I think it would be unfair to drop an in-form Ekitike for an Isak who just hasn't been doing the business. So yeah, but he was a surprise because everybody thought Isak was going to be the guy, and Ekitike was a bit of a surprise. A nice surprise. So that brings us to the end of Liverpool. I'm going to stop saying the name Isak. You'll all be very pleased. I am, in fact, which is why I was thinking of Ash, moving on to Newcastle. Yes, so Rob, I don't know, did I put this up because I was laughing at it? Sometimes I laugh at the comments and then I forget to put them up on the screen. Um, and yeah, he does. He really, really just needs to work it out, which is his job. So he needs to be doing his job. So let's go back. Ekitike is gone. So we are moving on to Newcastle and Johan Wissa. Now, Marv, we are going to talk about Woltemade. We are, but I'm going to follow the format that I did for Liverpool. So what I did with Liverpool is I went for Isak because he was the main striker signing, and then I went to Ekitike, who was supposed to be his backup signing. So I'm doing the same energy for Newcastle, even though Mama Flossie's here, even though Ash is going to be with me probably on Thursday or Friday. He's going to give me stick, but I'm doing the same. So their main striker signing was Johan Wissa. This was the guy. He was the main guy. Woltemade was going to be a backup, according to Ash. So I'm taking him at his word here. But let's have a look at Wissa first. So he came from Brentford to Newcastle for a reported fee of 57.7 million euro, which is more than Liam Delap, but a whole lot less than Alexander Isak, and actually a whole lot less than Ekitike as well. So in terms of fees, it's not dreadful for a main striker, so we can't say too much about that. Unfortunately, the poor chap got injured on international duty, and it was just a poor start. He got to play nothing. Where is my way? Right, there's the stats, the injury history, so I'm not just waffling. You can see what I'm saying. So he got injured there, a knee injury on the 15th of August, and he was out until the 6th of December. That is a long layoff. He was out for 114 days. Between the matches now, Brentford's badge is here because he was technically still a Brentford player when he got injured, but he didn't actually miss any matches for them. So between DR Congo, which I'm assuming is for the international breaks, and then obviously the build up to the AFCON, and Newcastle, he's missed 25 matches during that 114 days. That's a lot. That's a lot of days to miss. And it was his knee. Prior to that, he did have 2 ankle injuries in 2 separate seasons. 21-22, he missed 42 days. And in 24-25, he missed 36 days. So we'd want to be looking at his ankles, just making sure they're okay. And you want to hope that he comes back good and well from his knee injury, because an injury like that with a layoff like that, I mean, what happens if he gets another ankle injury? He's just injury prone then. That's it. He's done. He's labelled injury prone. So, and like, they're long layoffs. They're not short. They're not a few days. They are long. That's a lot of matches. Flossie's saying there, I don't know why we bought him. I'll be honest. See, looking at this, I don't know why you bought him either. Like, he doesn't have 2 pages the way Isak, but I mean, that's not a good look. And you don't know how he's going to come back now. You've no idea because he hasn't really played for you, which is essentially what I was going to say. I don't have an opinion on Johan Wissa because I haven't seen him do anything. I don't know what he can do. I don't know what he's fit for. I don't know if he's going to get injured again. I literally know nothing about this man. So what I would question is he injury prone? Rob has a very good question. What is his age? So let's go check his age. He's 29. So he's not even young. Like he's 29 and he's had several serious injuries. The fee is looking less good. There you go. There's Jay. Jay's thinking along my lines. That's a lot of money for a player that's injured a lot. And that's the thing. The fee, what did we say? It was 50 odd million euro, which doesn't sound that expensive. But then you look at the fact that he hasn't played a match at all. He hasn't done it. Like he come on obviously in the most recent match. He played a few minutes at the end of it there. But I mean, he hasn't done a lot for that money, which makes it sound very expensive suddenly. And if there's the potential that he's going to get another injury, if in the next month or two he gets another ankle or knee injury and he's out for another 30 to 40 days, the fee then is seems dramatically high. Do you know what I mean? As I said, at least with Delap, with his injuries, 35 million for a striker is nothing these days. 50 odds is still less than others, but I mean, if he's not available, you might as well have not spent it. You might as well have kept that money or spent it on somebody else. So it's not looking good. You just really have to hope that he stays injury free, because before that, we actually just can't judge him, can we? So what are you guys saying? Jelly's saying, oh yes. Jelly and Flossie are getting to know each other. Marvin, I honestly think he wanted out because Brentford lost the manager and Bumo. Wissa played well in that system, so he knew he needed to get paid when his value was high. And look, that's possibly it, because at the end of the day, these players, they do have short careers, and when they're injury prone or they have serious injuries, their careers are even shorter. So they need to make the most of it. And they, for the most part, if they don't want to go into punditry or kind of social media or influencing, a lot of them might have to or want to live off this money for the rest of their life. They want to do their 10 years of graft or whatever it is, however long their career is, and then live off that money for the foreseeable, which means they need to make as much as possible now so they don't have to do it in the future. So look, it might have been very calculated on his part. We don't know. And that's the thing. He's a complete unknown quantity 16 games into the Premier League season. That in itself isn't good news. So let me see. Yes. There we go. Jay says that Wissa sounds like a Luke Shaw. Well, this boy has he got himself fit for international duty? Flossie, he's not going on international duty, is he? I don't know if he's been called up. Flossie will be better able to tell me. I don't know. I feel like Ash might have told me he's not going on international duty because that's how he got injured the last time. And he's only just back. He has played 3% of available minutes. I mean, bloody hell, that's not good. That is not good at all. So, now that we've covered the entire of Johan Wissa's career at Newcastle, we are going to look at... Oh no, I've clicked the button. I've clicked the button again, people. I was doing so well, but I got so excited when I knew we were going to talk about Woltemade. So, there he is, out of neck. He has been absolutely flying. He wasn't cheap. He actually cost more than Wissa. He was 75 million euro from Stuttgart. Germans don't mess about with their fees, do they? And actually, his market value, has it gone up? Well, there's Newcastle. So his market value when Newcastle bought him was 65 million. He's paid more, but that's what his value was on the 17th of October. And it's actually gone up now to 70. So he's been doing so well that his value is increasing. So let us take a look at don't type in Woltemade because they won't get the joke. Right, now let's have a little look. Let me show you what I'm looking at so you can see it too. There's our Nick. And we have Rob saying Woltemade is a baller. Woltemade is indeed a baller. But I was a little bit surprised at some of his stats. So if we go to season and we go to Premier League 25-26, this doesn't look great. In my head, he's been better than that. Now, obviously, we know what this is about, and we're going to get to that. But I mean, it just goes to show you, sometimes the ratings aren't exactly reliable. And it does also go to show you that you need a mix of the stats and the eye test. Because if I was just looking at this, I'd be going, all right, so he's okay. Like, he's decent. But I know he's not. I know he's really good. And I know the Newcastle fans like him. And I know they consider him a good signing. They're really happy with him. And thank God just got him, because if you were relying solely on Wissa, you would have been in serious trouble. So the fact that here, so he's played 13 out of 16. He's averaging 79 minutes a game. He has 5 goals and 1 assist. I thought that was going to be a little bit better. The stats sound really underwhelming compared to what my eye test was telling me. I felt like, and I feel like, I'm not convinced by the stats, I feel like he's better than the stats are showing. And I suppose this is a really good example of where you can't put everything into a stat. You can't put in like good runs that drag defenders away. You can't put playing the right pass at the right time. You can't put in like intelligence and knowing where your teammates are. There are things that you can't quantify in a stat. And I feel like Nick Woltemade is a really good example of why the eye test is important and you can't rely solely on stats. Because I think he's been really good for Newcastle. And I think I'm about to find out, because I'm going to read Flossie's stats in a minute. But I think for the most part, the Newcastle fans have been really happy with him as well. And as I said, it's a relief that you guys have him compared to Wissa. Imagine if you'd only signed Wissa. Like, what were you going to do with that? And can I just say, I've just noticed, his wee birthday's on Valentine's Day, bless him. Oh, that's cute. So, Flossie, where'd you go? Flossie is saying he has apologised to fans for not being quick enough as the Premier League is so quick, but he's training hard. The thing is, first of all, that just shows such humility. You know, he wants to ingratiate himself with the fans. He has the right attitude. He's not saying, well, look what I've done for you. He's like, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do more. I'm trying to get up to speed. It also shows that he's self-aware. So he knows where he's maybe not quite where he should be, and he's working on it. And we know that the Premier League is fast because almost every single player and manager that comes into the Premier League is like, oh my God, it's really fast, it's really physical, it's really different than any other league we've ever worked in. So we know that that's the case. So I actually just think that's it makes me like him even more. Honestly, I really do like him. I think it's Ash. Ash has influenced the life out of me with this boy. Rob's agreeing with me. Shows a great attitude, 100%. Huge is saying that he did very well in the Champions League. Now, let's just see, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just curious how different the stats look. So let's say, so he's appeared in 6 matches in the Champions League in the 25-26 season. He has started 4 of them. He's playing slightly less minutes, but that's okay because, I mean, at some point he does have to rest as well. I mean, you don't want him getting injured as well. He covered 10 kilometers. And he scored 1 goal. So, again, the stats don't look unbelievable, but I just think, as I said there, I don't think stats show everything. And you do have to watch the matches too. I think he's been really good. Jay is saying I would take him. I would also take him. I think he's been brilliant. Wouldn't turn my nose up at him. And I think if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be so grateful that we got Nick Woltemade as well as Wissa. And I think, and this is what I nearly misquoted Ash, but I'm on it now. It was Wissa and Woltemade that Ash said could play in the same team. So I was saying, what's going to happen when Wissa gets fit? Is Nick going to get dropped? How's it going to work? Like, you don't even know what to expect from Wissa. How can you drop a player that's been really like carrying you, like has been doing so well for you? How can you drop him? And Ash was saying, well, you don't have to drop him. There is a possibility that, you know, you can play them together. There's a formation where these guys can work together. So I will be curious to see how that develops, because if Wissa can't stay fit, that won't even matter. But if he does, I will be very interested. Like at Liverpool, I'll be interested to see what Slot does with Isak and Ekitike. I'll be very interested to see what Eddie Howe does with Wissa and Woltemade. So watching brief for all of the clubs. Let me see. Oh, we're all talking about getting married and everything because I said Valentine's Day. So Twisted got married on Valentine's Day. Flossie got married in Gretna Green. Everybody's being all romantic. And let me see. Oh, Merv. Woltemade plays really well, linking the attack for Newcastle. And that's the thing, Marv. There's no stats to quantify to quantify link up play. There's just some things you can't put a stat on. And I think that's something that, particularly in his position, is so important. I think he's been very good. I don't care what the stats say, and I don't care about the fact that he scored an own goal in the match with Sunderland. And I agree with Ash. Ash did his video and said that he felt like he actually thought that Newcastle were still scoring in that net because it was just after half time. It was such a good header. It was a really good header. I also agree with Ash. I think he was trying to score and forgot it was the wrong net. Bless him. But overall, he's been fantastic. And I think when you've been playing that well and you've been doing that good, you can forgive a little bit of a misstep. Now, let's go to Victor Gyokeres. Share this. Victor Gyokeres. Victor Gyokeres was another target that Manchester United have because we just love sharing our targets with all the other teams in the Premier League. Arsenal paid a fee of €65.8 million for him. He played, obviously, under Ruben Amorim at Sporting. He played previously in England, I believe, at Coventry he played for previously. Was that right? Am I wrong? Am I mixing them up? Let me see. Yeah, no, I am right. So he was previously at Coventry. There's Brighton, So he was in England previously. He had experience in the country, kind of in the culture. He understood it. There was a lot of back and forth. Would he come and kind of rejoin Ruben Amorim, come back together? The man that made him kind of was what was being put out there through the summer. And he basically felt more of an affinity with Arsenal and the Arsenal project, and that's where he went to. And I see there, Billy's straight in. Would I take him at Manchester United? No. And I don't even mean that in like a really sour way, but no, I wouldn't take him actually. I think he made the right move for him. I think he is more suited to Arsenal. I think it was the right decision. And given that we don't even know if we're going to keep Ruben Amorim, I don't see the point in signing a player just because he worked with Ruben Amorim before if he's not the right fit for Manchester United going forward. So no, I wouldn't, being honest with you. I also don't think he's particularly pulling up trees at Arsenal, if I'm being honest with you. I think a lot of their fans, they're sticking up for him. They want him to do well. They're backing their player. They're protecting him from rival fans. But for me, no, I think he's been underwhelming. That's not saying he won't come good, but I think so far he has been underwhelming. I also think he has had injuries, hasn't he? So where's my wee drop down? I'm really sure he's also had injuries. Let's have a look. So there you are. Muscle injury. He was out for 27 days, missed 4 games with a muscle injury. There's a lot of these muscle injuries going about the place at the minute, and I do think a lot of that is down to the amount of football that these players are playing. But what I want to look at is this. This is rest. So that's obviously some sort of fatigue, thigh problems, knee injury. I mean, there you go. So 25, 26. He's already missed 27 days so far this season. And last season, he missed 71 days with 3 separate injuries and missed 5 games. So I don't know if I'd go so far as to say injury prone yet, but definitely something if he had joined Manchester United, I would be concerned about. If I was an Arsenal fan, I would be concerned about this because see that 3 separate injuries, it's to stop starting, because you don't just have the time out for the injury and then the recovery time. You have to ease yourself back in. You have to do it bit by bit. You can play bits of matches here and there. And then you might be injured again by the time you're actually back up to speed. So it's something I would want to keep an eye on. It's not overwhelmingly good, is it? Let's have a look. Do you guys think Gyokeres is underwhelming, underperforming? Do you think he's doing fine? Do you think he's just taking time to adjust? What do you reckon? What do you think about Victor Gyokeres? Now, let me see. I've got him up there on SofaScore. Folks, I haven't reminded you how very, very negligent of me. Please do smash a like on the video. I'm sure you've all done it already, but sometimes you jump into the chat, you get involved, you're having a bit of back and forth with everybody, it's a bit of crack, and you forget to push the wee button. Please do push the button. We want some likes in the video. We want to grow the gang. We want more and more people in. So we have more and more chats going on. And I think the more people that join, the more different points of view we have, the more different sort of opinions we get in. And I think that's part of it, because I never want to like shut down people's opinions for the most part, unless they're absolutely ridiculous or you're purposely trolling. Twisted, I'm looking at you. But no, for the most part, I think it's really important that we get different opinions. And like that, sometimes, like often your comments will put something into my head that I haven't thought of or that I've forgotten about. And, we feed off each other, which I think is good fun. So the more people that join, the more different opinions we will get. So please do smash a like, because that will bring more and more people into us. I think you're all subscribed, but if you're not, please do subscribe. And here we are, Victor Gyokeres. There's his little pluses. So there's the other 2 injuries we were talking about from last season. There's the one for this season. And let's just have a look at where's the season button? There's his season. Premier League 25-26. He's appeared 14 out of 16 matches in the Premier League, which isn't too bad considering the injury he had. So it's obviously got timed well the way it fell, maybe international break or other competitions. He started 11 out of 16. He's played an average of 69 minutes per game, which is pretty okay. 4 goals, so not dreadful, not fantastic. 0 assists. Look, assists are a bonus. When you're the striker, you want to be the one scoring. Yeah, I just think he might come good. Maybe once he gets out of the injury thing, maybe once he gets back up to speed, because not only do you have the injuries, but then you have the breakups for the international breaks. You have the 3 international breaks and the injuries. So it's stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. So, and also Arsenal are not used to playing with a striker. So I think not only is he adjusting to Arsenal, not only is he trying to get back up to speed, not only is he stop, start for the international breaks and then his injury, but also his teammates are actually getting used to playing with a striker. They're adjusting to him as much as he's adjusting to them. So there's every possibility that in time, this will improve drastically and this will get much, much better. But as it stands right now in this moment, I think so far it's underwhelming. That doesn't mean it doesn't have the potential to improve. But where we are right now, it's not great. And there's nothing that I have looked at here that makes me think, oh, I wish we signed him. Nothing at all. So let me get to your comments. Evening Streets, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Twisted, who never likes to tell us what he really thinks. He always holds back, and I wish he would just come out and say it. Thinks that Gyokeres is useless. Rob is saying very underwhelming. I agree. Jay reckons he's just adjusting, that going forward he's going to improve, which is also incredibly likely, you would imagine. You hope. Well, I don't hope, because I don't want Arsenal to do well, but I mean, as an Arsenal fan, you would hope. Marv, I think the signings made by Arsenal this year, Gyokeres is lucky the spotlight is not him. He was hugely underwhelming, since everyone has always said all Arsenal needs is a striker. Now, Mark, this is what I'm talking about when I say the comments are fantastic, because they bring us to things that maybe we wouldn't get to otherwise. So I think that's a really good point. For a long time, because Arsenal just can't get over the line, the bridesmaid bride thing, A lot of people were saying all they need is a striker. It's their missing piece. They need an out and out striker. They need someone ready to go, going to bang in the goals. The cherry on top of the cake, the star on top of the tree is the last piece. If you're looking for the last piece, an out and out fantastic goal scorer, is Gyokeres that guy? Are they expecting too much from him? Are they setting him up for failure by expecting something that he's actually not the right person to deliver? And I'm going to talk about this when I talk about Sesko at United. So I'm going to link it all back in together. It's going to make sense for everybody. But I just wonder if that's what they were looking for, have they picked the right guy? And if Arsenal as a club and Arteta as a manager together haven't picked the right guy for what they needed in that moment, not because Gyokeres is bad, but because maybe he's not what they were looking for, is that on him or is that on the club? So while I think he's been underwhelming, while I think to date he's not been performing, I also think there's a possibility that the club didn't pick the right guy. That's on the club. The same as what Twisted was saying earlier, you can't put the transfer fee on the player, but it's part of the transfer. Therefore, you can judge the transfer using that criteria, but the part of the transfer you're judging is the part the club is responsible for. And so in this case, picking the right type of player in the right moment for what the club needs is the club's part. Turning up and playing and performing to the best of your ability is the player's part. At the moment, I think they might have both got it wrong. I think at the moment he's underperforming, but I think the club might have picked the wrong guy for what they were looking for. I can see how that happened when wasn't he like the top scorer in Europe? He was like one of the best up and comers. So I can see what they were thinking. But again, when we look at Isak did so well in the environment at Newcastle. He's now not doing the same thing at Liverpool. So is that the case of Gyokeres was tearing it up, partially due to his environment, and now he's been put in a new environment that doesn't suit him and maybe he doesn't suit them. Now maybe it will all come good, but I do think there's a lot to kind of look at there if it doesn't work out. Let me see. Oh, Marv would like me to say Sunderland. Twisted. Lou, do you think we make too many excuses for underperforming players? I think when we like them, yeah. I think it's when it's a player we like. I think we want to believe the best. I think we want to find the reason that it's not working out, and we never want the reason to be them. So yeah, I think it's totally possible that we look for excuses or reasons when players we like are underperforming or not doing well. Yeah, 100%. I think it's human instinct as well. I think when you have a soft spot for someone or when you like someone and you want them to do well and they're not, I think you don't want to turn around and just say, well, it's because they're terrible. You want to look for a legitimate reason. So yeah, 100% Twisted. Huge has just gone straight in. I tried to be nice about it. I tried to not awaken Anton, but Huge has gone straight in. Arsenal don't play direct at all, so he isn't suited for them. Huge, do you not think that they should be adapting to the fact that they do now have a striker though? Like they didn't have a striker, so it will take a little bit of adjustment period for them to, change their play to work with a striker now. But I mean, they can't just forever not have a striker. So at some point they're going to have to adapt. So I do think a part of that is on the club and the team to adapt to that. Because, right, what do they do then? Move him on. Let's just say, right, hypothetically, he's not suited. So do they just get rid of him, not have any striker? Go back to that because that wasn't working. That's why they kept finishing second. So I understand your point, but I think that's something that the club and the team have to adjust. Ash is in the house. He heard me say Woltemade and he arrived. Oh yeah, we were talking. We were talking about Vistos signing off the summer. Marv is a question for me. Do you think you should judge new signings differently if they come from other EPL clubs versus clubs outside the EPL? Case in point, Mbeumo and Cunha, great at their teams now, a bit underwhelming. No, I don't think so. I understand that it can impact how they settle in. I understand how it can impact expectations. You might, without planning to expect more from a player who's already familiar with the league. Like I mentioned the fact that Delap had played in England before, so it wasn't even the fact that he had played in the Premier League, it was the fact that he had played in England. He understands maybe the culture of it a little bit more. But no, I think it can impact your expectations unknowingly, but I don't think we should put it in as a criteria when we're judging how well they've done. Speaking of, just on time, I am going to have to speak about my own striker, Benjamin. So let me see. Let's get our Ben up because I need to finish this. I need to get my dinner. I was only going to do an hour, lads, but you know what? There's so much crack. We just kept going. So, right, there's Victor's gone. Let's have a look at you. I'll tell you the first thing about Ben. I'm so pleased he changed his hair because that blonde is brutal on him. God love him. It makes him look about 10 years older. So, Manchester United signed Benjamin Sesko Sesko from Leipzig for a fee of 76 and a half. Well, do you know what I'm going to do? We're going to pretend I didn't say any of that sentence. We're going to start it over. Manchester United signed Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig for a fee of 76.5 million euro. Well done. That's it. Congratulations. I got all of the words out in the right order and none of them sounded like something they shouldn't. Fan dabby dozy. Now, we're back to the injury history, lads, because honest to God, here we are. Al Benjamin has had a knee injury. 28 days, he missed 4 matches, the 8th of November to the 5th of December. As I've said, there is a lot of injuries all over the place. Everyone we've looked at so far. Now, Isak was the only one with 2 pages, but there's so many injuries all over the place. And again, I think it's just down to the amount of football they're playing. So, Sesko, it looks like he's had loads of injuries, but if you look at them, he actually just had a really rough season in 21-22. 3 separate injuries, was out for 61 days, but since 21-22, this is actually his first injury since. So he's gone from 22-23, 23-24, 24-20. So he's gone 3 full seasons without injuries. So he's actually done quite well. So what I hope is that the Manchester United curse isn't going to get him and he's going to become injury prone. Because I would say from this, he's not injury prone. He had 1 bad season and then we've buggered him. So I hope this isn't going to be a trend. But I've judged all the other players on their injuries, so I'm just saying he has missed 4 games out of 16. 28 days is a long time when you're not even, at the end of December. But look, overall, not a terrible injury record. Now, let me get him up on SofaScore and let me show you. So here we are. There he is. And we want his season. So the Premier League, 25-26. So there you are. He started off all in the greens. Around here, he had his injury. And he's been a little bit off it since he's come back. But that's what we expect after an injury. He's easing himself back in, whether we want him to or not. He has appeared in 12 of the 16 Premier League matches so far. But he has only started in 6 of them, which is not a lot. And he's only played an average of 53 minutes per game, which again is just over 1/2. That's not a lot. He has scored 2 goals. Not great. When you've appeared in 12 and started 6 of them, 2 goals isn't stellar. And 1 assist. So okay, he's not selfish. Good stuff. So, to answer Twisted's question, how good is Sesko? What's his realistic ceiling at United? That's very hard to know, Twisted, because honestly, even when an unbelievable player comes to United with a really, really high ceiling, it doesn't always work out. So I think it's very hard to judge a player's ceiling at Manchester United because our ceiling is falling down. So it's impossible, and that's not down to the player, that's down to the club. It's very, very hard to tell. We have players where we think their ceiling is up here. Like if you look at Garnacho, obviously the menu is the topic at the minute. We bought in Jadon Sancho. We've had so many players over the years, Marcus Rashford, where we thought the ceiling was way up here and then actually the ceiling just fell down. And so I'm very wary of saying that a player has a really, really high ceiling. What I would also say is I consistently said through the summer, and this has nothing to do with Sesko, I wanted a Premier League experienced, and I don't mean 30, but a player that has played in the Premier League, proven goal scorer. There was a lot of talk in the summer for us, and I believe it was Ollie Watkins, wasn't it? And I said at the time I would have taken Ollie Watkins. Not because I think Ollie Watkins has a higher ceiling than Benjamin Sesko, but because I know Ollie Watkins can score goals in the Premier League. I don't think he's a long-term solution. I'm using him as an example because he was the name that was floating around. But that was the profile I would have liked. Somebody with experience, somebody who's not developmental, somebody who can absolutely hit the back of the net. And that, again, that's nothing bad about Sesko. But Manchester United should have 3 strikers, minimum. 2 of them should be experienced, and then you should have a Sesko who's growing and developing. I think Sesko looks good. I think he can do better than what he's shown so far. And I think in the right environment, he could develop into a really good player. I don't think he'll be excellent. I don't think he'll be world class. I think he could be a really good striker. I've seen movement. I've seen link-ups. I've seen enough that I feel like he can be better than he's shown so far. But I think we need a more experienced, more proven striker. And I said we needed that before we signed him. Because the way our club is at the minute, everybody's developmental or retiring. Look at our defence. I'm not going to bore you with the defence because I've talked about it in so many videos, but they're either injury prone, retiring, or they're only just learning. There's nobody just in the middle except Delap, and we've gone and injured him. So I think we need that at the front. We need 2 experienced ones fighting for it because they're scoring goals, and we need someone like Sesko developing. At the very least, we need 1 experienced and 1 like Sesko. I don't think a younger developmental striker was what we needed. And so when I talked there about Arsenal, I was saying it's on the club. If they knew that they needed a proven, ready to go, hit the ground running, 25 to 30 goals a season striker, and what they've bought is somebody who's developmental, who, doesn't work well within their team, that's on them. It's the same for Manchester United. We needed someone who was going to hit the ground running. We needed someone who was ready to go. We needed somebody who was proven, who was going to score the goals. That's not what we got. That is not on Sesko. That is on the club. So I think he can get better. I think he will get better. He will definitely get better if we get an actual midfielder behind him that's not Bruno. I forget whether you think Bruno's good or not. He's not a midfielder. So if the structure behind him improves, he will then improve as well. So I think he can get better. But how good is he? I think he could be very good. At the moment, I have to put him in the underwhelming category. I like him. I think he can do well. But 2 goals in 12 appearances is underwhelming. I don't like it, but I have to be honest. So let me see what you guys are saying. Well, I was coming to terms with how I feel about Benjamin Sesko. Let me see. Do I think Wirtz will come good? Didn't see him before he joined, had major hype. I'll be honest, I didn't see him before he joined either. So I'm kind of going off what I've seen of him at Liverpool. And he hasn't really, I know people are talking about him, but he's not the main focus at the moment. He seems to be improving with time, and he's getting less attention. And I think sometimes with our clubs, less attention is good, because when you're getting attention, it's normally for a bad reason. When you start to fly under the radar, it's generally because you're doing okay, you're moseying along. So I think there's kind of a watch and brief on him. I definitely think he can improve. But again, he's probably a victim of the chaos that's going on in the club at the moment as well. But yeah, I think sometimes when there's too much hype on a player before they come in, they feel underwhelming then. even if they're not, because you've built them up so much before they've even arrived that it was unrealistic that they were ever going to reach that. So I think he's another one that'll be really, really interested. Marv is saying, and this is about Sesko, if he got real service, 15 to 20 goals. I probably agree with that, Marv. I reckon he could do that. Yeah, an actual midfield would be helpful. Mama Flossie in the bold corner. Bold corner. Marv is asking me, 4 months later, would I have gone for Watkins? So now that I have hindsight, yeah. I actually think we needed both. I would have wanted both, an experienced and a developmental one. So I wouldn't have wanted to have to pick. I would have liked both. But if I had to pick, and again, this is not a slight on Sesko, it's about what the club needs right now. And what the club needs right now is not developmental. It's some pieces that are ready to go. So yeah, I would still go for Watkins over Sesko. But realistically, what I would have liked is both, if we're being fair. Let me see. I should have kept Rasmus. No. No, we shouldn't. I liked Rasmus. I wanted it to work out. It didn't. Sorry. Bring back Phil Jones. Marv's lost the plot. Bring back Ollie. I would bring back Ollie. No problem at all. Absolutely no problem. Oh, hello, Aaron. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Jay is saying Bruno and Casemiro need to go too. I would have sold Bruno in the summer. I would have taken the money and run with the quotes that have come out. I'm not going to delve into them too much. Again, I would have taken the money and run. I don't care when those quotes were made. I don't care when those statements were said. The fact is, when he says it to somebody publicly, he is fully aware that they can then come out at any time. What he said was about himself and for the betterment of himself. And I'm keeping the same energy for Bruno as I kept for Salah. Don't air your dirty laundry in public. Don't say private things publicly. Those things don't need to be said. And when you're out there saying those things, the kind of things that only benefit you and don't benefit your club, you're not a leader. So exact same energy for both of them. Casemiro will go. I mean, he's just aging. His contract's gonna run out. He will go. He's not going to have a choice when his contract runs out. For the moment, though, I actually think we need to be very grateful that we've had him this season, because imagine if we didn't have Casemiro and we were playing Bruno and Menu. Even if you think Menu's unbelievable, Bruno and Menu absolutely doesn't work, even more than Casemiro and Bruno, because at least Casemiro does sit in and defend. I mean, that would have been a disaster. So he does need to go, but I think it's going to happen naturally. Marv is saying Watkins has one more goal than Sesko. I don't know how many minutes, anything Watkins has played. I don't know. I don't know what his situation has been so far this season, but you asked me if I could go back and make the decision, would I make the same one? And I would, but I haven't looked into Watkins in detail, and I don't think you can judge because they'd be playing in different teams. So you don't know. He might have way more goals if he had come to Manchester United. We don't know, but you might be right. Maybe it would have made no difference whatsoever. Do I trust United to spend Bruno's transfer fee effectively? Absolutely not. But it's better having some money than no money. I don't trust them in the slightest, but some money is better than no money. Jay is saying we get better midfield. We will be a lot better. I also think we need more in defence, because we need, again, more experience in defence. Lads, I'm going to go because this was going to be an hour stream. It's been an hour and a half. These are all wonderful people. Thank you so much for spending some of your Tuesday evening with me. I'm going to go and get a bit of grub. Please do get some comments in after the show, like anything I missed, anything you didn't get to say. Please smash a like on the video. Thank you for being here. I will get talking to you in the week. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow. I might take a wee day off tomorrow, but you know yourself, just keep your notifications on and I'll put it up if I'm going to be live. If not, I will definitely be speaking to you between tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. We'll be here because Ash will be with me. So I'll be live during the week at some point. Notifications on, like buttons hit. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the football. We have some good matches now tomorrow and the next day. And have a good one. Bye-bye.